G'day geeks, Chris here, and in today's video it's a haul, but not of the action figure kind, but of the comics and book kind. So I've picked up a few books from a recent book sale and a whole bunch of comics as well as a new pretty funky bookstore that has opened up in the city of Perth where I live. So yes, some pretty cool pop culture finds. Very happy. We've got a stack of comics and books to get through. Let's get through them. Before we get into some older books, there's a new bookstore that opened in Perth, which is awesome. So this is Pigface Bookstore. I pass it every day on the way to work and I saw them getting ready to open. So I visited them on their first day. They've been open for about a month now, and had a lovely chat to the guy there who also owns a couple of other bookstores. I think New Edition in Fremantle and Crow Books in Vic Park. So I think it's the same owner, but yeah, it's a lovely old building and a lovely little space with a lot of variety of books. So I had a bit of a browse and picked up a couple of things. So I had a nice collection of comics which will be growing, he said. So this is my first purchase of the DC Compact Comics line. So this is their new and cheaper, smaller sized but complete story. So basically they're smaller trade paperbacks. So here is the first 11 issues of American Vampire, which I've never read, and that was only $19. So for 11 issues, $19, pretty awesome for sure. And it's pretty much a classic. It's Stephen King had a bit of a hand in it as well, and I think it's like a 1920s kind of Wild West era as well. Yeah, as it says, vampires. So yeah, pretty cool. And if you liked the movie Sinners, I guess, which came out recently, you might like that. And also I picked up a book about poet and painter William Blake from the 17 and 1800s, and this is a bit about his life and the influence he's had on pop culture. So yes, a couple of cool pickups from Pigface Bookstore, so definitely give them a visit if you're in Perth. The UWA book sale, which is the University of Western Australia here in obviously Western Australia, happens a couple of times a year. It's absolutely massive, and that's run by the Save the Children charity, which is awesome to see. Those are the 2026 dates. So yeah, we've got one in summer and one in winter, and you can also donate your books to them. So the first one I went to at the start of the year, I picked up a few good things, including this awesome Star Trek First Contact book, and that kind of completes, well, nearest to completion, my novelizations of the original Star Trek films. So I think I've got this is the first one I've got from the new generation, next generation cast films. But yes, pretty cool. So that's the novelization of Star Trek First Contact, which is an awesome film. A couple of old books. So this is on the making of the King James Bible, and this is from 1926, believe it or not. So it's almost 100 years old. It's only $4. Not bad shape for almost 100 years old, and it's basically a few pictures and a bit of a summary of the Old Testament. And they also have DVDs in the UWA book sale, and CDs, and music sheets, and all manner of paraphernalia, and postcards and magazines, newspapers. But I always look at the DVDs, and I picked up some of the classic Little Britain, because I've been listening to their podcast, which is called, I think it's called You Can't Ask Me That, which is done by Matt Lucas and David Walliams. So those two have reunited over a podcast. I'd also picked up a couple of classic Wesley Snipes films on DVD, and some old cartoons, including the classic Fleischer Superman cartoons as well. So a bit of a mishmash from the first UWA book sale I went to at the start of the year. One of my colleagues was talking about going to the Cannington book sale on the weekend, and that's kind of an offshoot of the UWA book sale that I just mentioned. So I've never been to the Cannington one, but apparently it's even bigger. So my first time there, there was heaps of people with just filling up boxes. They had very similar to the UWA book sale. They had like comics and kids' toys and fiction and non-fiction and postcards and newspapers and DVDs, CDs, music, all that kind of stuff. Just so much for everybody. So I was umming and ahhing whether I should go, but I'm very glad that I did. I didn't get a lot of footage because it was very crowded, and you're kind of like shoulder to shoulder with people. There's just books and boxes everywhere, but they had an awesome array of comics, which I was very impressed to see. So I picked up quite a few number ones and tried my best to look at my CLZ Comics app to know which comics I have and which I need. But here's a selection of Image Comics number one. So I'm very impressed. So this is David Finch. So this is from a zero issue from Wizard magazine back in the day, and this is Ascension. I don't know how long this lasted, but it looks like some angels, demons, good versus evil kind of thing going on. But David Finch is not David Fincher, the director. David Finch is been around the industry for years and years, and he's an awesome artist. And then going back to the 90s as well, we've got some Stormwatch. So Stormwatch first issue. I mean, it's very 90s with just cross-hatching everywhere, interesting costume designs, and just almost quite amusing dialogue, but very 90s for sure. Divine Right, I've wanted the first issue of this for a while. So this is Jim Lee and Scott Williams, pencil and inker. They've been working together for years and years. So Jim Lee actually wrote this as well. So this is his first creation. So Jim Lee is obviously known for his work on Marvel's X-Men, and he's one of the head honchos of DC Comics at the moment. And lastly, another image, number 1, Team 7, written by one of my favourite comic writers, Chuck Dixon. And this is obviously very war-focused and violent and stuff. So yes, so that's the first thing I got, a smattering of image number 1s. Very happy to grab these as well. So this is from Marvel, Earth X number 1. So this is basically an alternate future, kind of conceptualized by Alex Ross, superstar painter Alex Ross. He doesn't do the interiors, but yes, you can see obviously he does all the covers. So we've got an aging Tony Stark and Peter Parker and all that kind of stuff. But Earth X is a very weird and interesting interpretation of the Marvel characters we all know and love in the future. Look at that art, Captain America, wonderful. I was glad I got this. So this is another number 0 issues from Wildstorm, and this is basically a look at some of their early issues that are coming. So like Battle Chasers, Crimson. So this is from 1997, and some preliminary sketches and artwork, and Danger Girl as well. So all 3 are featured there on the cover. And lastly, very happy to get this. This is Battle Chasers number 1, also from the 90s, by Joe Madeira. So he was a very young guy when he started off on the X-Men penciling duties, and this is his kind of fantasy take. So we've got a wraparound cover, Battle Chasers number 1. So very happy to grab that. So there we go, another cool few issues from the Cannington book sale. Lastly, with the handful of comics, I was very happy to see so many comics there. I mean, normally at these book sales they do have comics, but nothing that really interests me. But this is the first issue of Chase number 1. This is from 1998, I believe. So this is from DC Comics, and this is basically, Detective Cameron Chase, and not Meridian Chase from the Nicole Kidman from the Batman Forever film, but this is Cameron Chase, and this is the first issue of her series. I don't know how long it lasted. I've actually got the omnibus, which is quite thick and collects all the issues, but she's basically a human in a superpowered world, and she's kind of like over superheroes and why people idolize them. She just kind of rolls her eyes. So yeah, it's a pretty cool concept, and it actually comes with 4 collectible cards, which is pretty cool, including my favorite Green Lantern, Kyle Rayner, and a bit of stats on the back there. So I was quite happy that it's actually, there we go, love the adverts, quite happy that on the front it says bonus collectible cards, but they don't always have the cards, but I'm very glad that they do in this instance. So that's DC, and sticking with DC, I managed to fill out some of my Robin issues. So I had the CLZ app. There was a brief break in the comic selection people, and I managed to fill out quite a few. So I've got Robin issue 23, 24, so this is from the Underworld Unleashed time. These are all from the 90s. Robin 25, 29, this is the third Robin, Tim Drake, my favourite Robin, and I love the costume. Issue 30, issue 48, and issue 50. So yes, these are all from the same kind of era, and that kind of brings my Robin run of this particular volume, this particular series, to a bit more of a completion. So yes, lovely. I was very happy to see that obviously someone was getting rid of all of their Robin comics. You never know what you're going to see and what people donate. So yes, obviously someone donated a whole bunch of Robin comics, and somebody donated quite a few programs from musical theatre kind of programs and musicals. So, which isn't always my thing. I think I've only seen like 2 musicals on stage in my whole life. Frozen, I think, and Phantom of the Opera. But yeah, so they had a whole box of programs. So I grabbed the Monty Python Spamalot one, which is awesome, but that's filled with kind of fun jokes and like, you know, made up bios of people and all that kind of stuff. So I grew up watching Monty Python. It's definitely my thing, and I love that it's got a little insert of the understudy will be taking part in tonight's performance, and just lots of weird things and bios, and yeah, that's all quite humorous. So yes, happy to grab that. And I grabbed the Lion King musical from my friend at work. Look at all that merchandise, and yeah, it's just got bios and interviews and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, normally I wouldn't grab these kind of things, but that's for someone else, and I do love Monty Python, so pretty cool. I must say that all the comics were bagged and boarded, which is awesome, and they're about $3 to $5 each. And here's some of the books that I picked up. So the first one is Sir Les Patterson, which is a fictional character created by Barry Humphries, Australian legend, and the actor who played Dame Edna Everage, who created Dame Edna Everage, and this is one of his other famous characters. Probably couldn't get away with any of the stuff that's in that book, I'm sure, in today's a lot more politically and family friendly. Yes, obviously some of the best bits of the two Ronnies from their wonderful TV show, which I'm very looking forward to reading. So I grew up on English humour and English, you know, comedy shows like the Monty Python, Blackadder, etc. So that will go down well. I'm looking forward to reading that. Also picked up this wonderful DC Adventures role-playing book. So it says $60 on there, but that wasn't how much it was. I think it was 20, 25, and there we go, 25. This is basically a role-playing game for set in the DC universe, so that's pretty cool. I don't know if I'll ever actually play this, but I've been on a bit of a role-playing game history kind of binge lately, and obviously this is the era of DC Comics that I do like. So yes, it's got all stats and how to play and wonderful artwork, which I love. So that's pretty awesome. I'm very happy to find that. This is a behind the scenes kind of creating Narnia book. So this was brand new actually. I think this was $40. So I do love the Narnia films, and obviously Weta Workshop, the New Zealand company behind them. So this is all of the concept art and all that kind of stuff. I'm a sucker for concept art books. So yes, and hopefully it might give me some inspiration for D&D stuff. So this is all the weapons and the creatures, armor, all that kind of stuff. Pretty awesome to see. Look at all that stuff. So it might give me some inspiration, but it's good just to look through some pretty pictures in an art book. You've probably seen these 1001 series of books, so 1001 movies to see before you die, places to go, and albums to listen to before you die. This is 1001 comics you must read before you die, and it's pretty good because it covers not only American comic books, but manga, European comics, all that kind of stuff. And Terry Gilliam, so speaking of Monty Python, Terry Gilliam from Monty Python actually wrote the foreword, which is lovely. So this is 960 pages. It's a big fella, and it was $15. And it's all full colour and gives a bit of a rundown of all the different comics. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to reading that and perhaps discovering some that I haven't actually heard of before. So yeah, obviously covers Marvel, DC, and a whole bunch of European and international stuff, which I'm very excited to read. 1001 comics you must read before you die. The last couple of finds at the Kennington book sale were these. I have both of these digitally, but was hoping that I'd find them in physical format as well. Flashman and the Angel of the Lord. So this is by George MacDonald Fraser. It's kind of like a comedic historical fiction, and the Flashman is kind of a rousing, swashbuckling kind of hero set in back in those days where that kind of thing took place. And this is one of the series set in the Flashman papers. So 1858 to 1859. But that's what this book covers, and I've heard good things. Bit of funny stuff, bit of tongue-in-cheek, and as it says on the cover there, deliriously rousing. So I look forward to that. Very, very happy to find this by Philip Jose Farmer. This is from 1972. Tarzan Alive. So it's not actually a Tarzan book as such. It's more so Philip Jose Farmer wrote this book and said, you know, what if Tarzan was a real person? And this kind of is a biography of Tarzan, as if he was an actual person, not just a fictional character. So it's quite interesting. This was $3, and Philip Jose Farm also created the Wald Newton family, which I wonder if Alan Moore, from when he created League of Extraordinary Gentlemen comics, kind of took that, where all these fictional characters were kind of related to each other and existed in the same world. So very cool to grab those. While I was at the Kennington book sale, just across the road was Toymate, so I thought I'd pop in there. I didn't buy anything, but they had some great Master of the Universe stuff, including the new Fright Zone, which was very surprised and impressed to see, for not a bad price either. And so that's an update of the classic Fright Zone from the 1980s. Unfortunately, I've already ordered it online like a couple of weeks ago. If I knew that Toymate were stocking them, I would have got it from there, but nonetheless. So yeah, this is my haul from the Kennington book sale. So a pretty good haul, I gotta say. A nice selection of comics, including a few number ones and a few issues in my Robin collection, and the Narnia book, a couple of humorous books, and 1001 comics, and the DC Universe kind of RPG role-playing game book. So this is a pretty good haul. I'm pretty happy with all of this stuff. So let me know in the comments below. Did you go to the Kennington book sale, or have you got any of these stuff that you see on display right now? Thanks for watching all the way at the end. Like, subscribe, hit the bell, all of that stuff if you feel so inclined, and I'll catch you in the next one. Goodbye, geeks.